Imagine you are standing in the grand hall of a palace that smells of burning incense and fresh roses. Torches sputter against the marble walls, casting restless shadows over faces that dare not speak. The air is heavy, not just with heat, but with the unspoken weight of fear. Trumpets blare. The crowd turns. Down the aisle walks a figure in shimmering silk, a veil of gold thread hiding their face. The emperor, Nero himself, waits at the altar, his gaze locked with something or someone beyond the veil. The figure steps closer, the fabric shifts, and you catch a glimpse of smooth, youthful skin, a jawline too sharp for a woman, eyes that hold no joy. This is no bride. This is a boy, and yet, in this moment, the empire calls him Empress. What could possess a ruler to take such a step, and why does no one dare to stop him? Before we uncover the truth behind this night, a truth recorded by Rome's own historians, take a moment to step with me into the shadows of forgotten history. If you crave the untold, the strange and the real, like this video, subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? It is the year 65 AD, and the Roman Empire stands at the height of its splendor and its cruelty. At its center sits Emperor Nero, a man both worshipped and feared, whose whims have the power to alter reality itself. The marble streets of Rome are lined with statues of the imperial family. The Senate bows, not from respect, but from survival. Just months earlier, tragedy had struck the imperial palace. Empress Poppaea Sabina, celebrated for her beauty and ambition, was dead. Official whispers spoke of illness, but those close to the court told another story, that she died beneath Nero's own hand, struck in a fit of rage while carrying his child. Yet Nero's obsession with her did not fade in death. In a world where the emperor's will was law, grief could twist into something far darker. Roman society knew strict roles for men and women, honor and shame, but it also knew the theater of power, public ceremonies that projected the ruler's image onto the empire's soul. When the emperor declared an act, no matter how strange, it was not questioned. And so, when he found a young boy named Sporus, whose features mirrored the dead empress almost perfectly, the stage was set for one of the most unsettling performances in Rome's history. You first hear his name whispered in the corridors of the palace, Sporus. A boy, perhaps 15, with the kind of beauty Rome valued, skin pale as polished marble, hair falling in soft waves, eyes downcast in the presence of power. But what strikes those who see him is not merely his youth. It is the uncanny resemblance to Poppaea Sabina, the dead empress, whose absence still haunts the imperial chambers. Nero notices him almost immediately. To the emperor, Sporus is not a person, he is an echo. In private, the emperor stares at the boy with an intensity that makes even the most hardened guards shift uncomfortably. In public, nothing is yet said. But in Rome, silence is not ignorance, it is survival. One day, a decision is made. There is no council, no debate. Nero's will requires no approval. Sporus is taken under imperial protection, his family silenced by gifts or threats. And then comes the act that will change his life forever. The procedure is clinical, cold. The palace physicians are ordered to preserve what Nero sees in the boy. The soft lines of the face, the absence of a man's voice, the body unmarked by age. Iron tools glint in the torchlight. Outside, Rome carries on merchants selling grain, children chasing each other in the forum, unaware that within the palace walls, a young life is being reshaped for a ruler's grief. When Sporus emerges, he is not the same. He walks carefully now, as though each step might betray the transformation forced upon him. His voice, soft and high, becomes another reminder of the woman Nero lost. In the emperor's mind, the illusion is complete. Then comes the wedding. It is announced not as a scandal, but as a celebration. Invitations go to senators, generals, and priests. The palace is draped in gold and crimson, the colors of imperial authority. On the day itself, the city buzzes with unease. Crowds gather along the route to the great hall, straining for a glimpse of the spectacle. Nero appears in his imperial robes, laurel crown gleaming under the torchlight. At his side, veiled in gold-threaded silk, walks Sporus. The music swells, the crowd falls silent. As they approach the altar, Nero takes Sporus's hand, slender, trembling, and pronounces him Empress of Rome. The vows are spoken, the kiss seals the illusion, and the empire watches, powerless to object, because to challenge the emperor's theater is to court death. From that day forward, Sporus is everywhere Nero is. At public games, he sits beside the emperor in the imperial box, draped in Poppaea's jewels. On state processions, he waves to the crowd with the practiced grace of a royal consort. In private audiences, he is introduced as Sabina, as if the name could resurrect the dead. The senators bow, the soldiers salute, and the people, some laughing behind closed doors, others shuddering, learn to accept the fiction. In Rome, truth is whatever the emperor declares it to be. But beneath the silks and titles, Sporus remains a prisoner. His role is not his own. His body, his identity, even his name, have been rewritten by another's will. There are moments, brief and dangerous, when his eyes betray the weight of his captivity. Moments when the mask slips and you glimpse the boy beneath the crown. Nero's reign, however, is not eternal. Whispers of rebellion grow louder, the provinces stir, and as the empire begins to fracture under the strain of its rulers' excesses, Sporus finds himself caught in the shifting tides of power, a living relic of the emperor's madness, too valuable to ignore, too dangerous to leave free. What Nero did to Sporus was not merely a personal obsession, it was a display of absolute power. In Rome, the emperor was not just a ruler, he was a living law. By reshaping Sporus's body and identity, Nero proved that even the most intimate boundaries could be crossed when the will of the sovereign demanded it. The act carried a political weight. In public ceremonies, the presence of Empress Sabina served as both a reminder and a warning. The emperor could defy nature itself, and no one could stop him. Senators might have whispered in private, but in the Senate hall they bowed. Citizens might have laughed behind closed doors, but in the forum they cheered. This was how autocracy survived, by forcing its subjects to play along with the lie. Such control over the body was not unique to Nero's Rome. Centuries later, in the courts of medieval Europe, rulers would use forced marriages, castrations, and even public humiliations to bend their rivals to their will. Eunuchs became political tools in Byzantium and the Islamic caliphates. Disguises, false identities, and ceremonial resurrections allowed monarchs to rewrite reality when it served them. In each case, the body became a canvas for political theater, painted, reshaped, or broken to send a message. Sporus's transformation was one of the most extreme examples, but it followed a pattern as old as kingship itself. The belief that power is proven not only by ruling over land and armies, but by ruling over the very flesh of another human being. It is a reminder that in the ancient and medieval worlds alike, truth could be fragile, identity could be stolen, and a person's life could become nothing more than a role in someone else's performance. The end came as quickly as it began. In 68 AD, rebellion erupted across the empire. Nero's allies deserted him. The Senate declared him a public enemy. Facing capture and humiliation, the emperor chose suicide, ending his life with the help of a loyal servant. For Sporus, Nero's death did not mean freedom. Instead, he became a prize, a living curiosity passed between men who now fought to claim Rome. The new ruler, Otho, had once been married to Poppaea before Nero stole her. To Otho, Sporus was a ghost from the past, draped in silks, wearing the face of the woman he had lost. But the most dangerous turn came when Vitellius seized the throne. He remembered Sporus not as an empress, but as a tool for mockery. Planning a public spectacle, Vitellius intended to dress Sporus as a mythical maiden, violated before the eyes of the crowd, a humiliation so total it would erase whatever dignity remained. Sporus understood what awaited him. The boy who had once been a citizen of Rome, then an empress by decree, now faced becoming the centerpiece of a grotesque performance. Rather than endure it, he took his own life. And so he vanished from the stage he had never chosen to stand on. No grave marker bore his name, no poet sang his story. He existed only in the margins of history, where power's victims are often left. Yet his fate lingers as a silent testament. In the hands of a ruler without restraint, a human being can be stripped of name, body, and identity until nothing is left but the role they were forced to play. Sporus's story is not only a fragment of Rome's darkest theatre, it is a warning that power, unchecked, will reach into the most private corners of human existence. In the ancient world and for centuries after, rulers proved their dominance not just through conquest, but through the reshaping of bodies, identities, and truths. If an emperor could turn a boy into an empress, what could a king do with something as intimate and as deadly as a kiss? In our next journey into the shadows of history, we will step into the courts of medieval Europe, where love becomes a weapon, and a royal mistress's lips deliver more than affection. Stay with me, the past has many more secrets to share, and some are far more dangerous than we dare to imagine.